Check 1 2. Check 1 2. 1 2 3.
Mic test, mic test, mic test.
Jay.
We are coming back to you live from the Alontes Sports Arena in Binyan, Laguna for the second game of your MPBL triple header. And there you see our recent All-Star Game MVP in Will Macaloni back in action for the Nueva Ecija Rice Vanguards. He'll be paired with Robbie Celis once more as they take on the other All-Star present today in Ryan Suwal, the second leading scorer in the entire MPBL, averaging 18 points per outing for Coach John Calios and the rest of the Sarangani Marlins. Sarangani comes in with a record of 5-18, while Nueva Ecija is number 3 in the North Division with 21 wins and 3 losses. It is a 3-game winning streak for the Nueva Ecijanos. Thank you for joining us, folks. This is Mixed Comments at your service alongside Coach Christian Luanzon and Megan Cabrera. Coach Chris, I want to get your thoughts about Will Macaloni winning All-Star Game MVP.
Well deserved. You know, arguably the best big man in the league right now. And I say arguably kasi yung mga kasama niya ron, itong si Justin Baltasar at si Greg Slaughter. Now, you could make a case, you know, most dominating is si Justin Baltasar.
Okay.
Di ba? Pero kasi mabigat yung rebounds at yung blocks eh. Pero in terms of skill, para sa akin, hindi nalalayo itong si Will Macaloni. He could beat you from the outside of the dribble. Also has that back to the basket moves on the post.
I did ask him before this game, mas nagulat ka pa ba na nag-All-Star MVP ka compared dun sa Mythical 5 selections mo? And he said yes. And it's because of that reason. Nakakampi niya si Balti, sina Greg Slaughter, and it was him who stood out the most last Saturday here or in Zamboanga City. Congratulations to Will McAloney. As now we talk about their previous outing that he actually missed out on. It was Robbie Celis who was the best player for the Nueva Ecijanos back in Bataan when they won versus South Cotabato.
Well, yung panalong yun, no, really got to a terrific start, 22-8 first quarter, and then, you know, was up by 14 at the half. But I thought, you know, that third quarter, especially the last 5 minutes of that third, you know, they went on a 11-1 run. They were already up by 14, but they extended that to start the fourth by 25. And you see the numbers right here, three-point shooting, all of that. Vince Magbuhos, Robbie Celis was the best player. Vince Magbuhos, though, stats-wise, 5 points, 4 rebounds, but in that stretch, he had a block that led to, you know, a basket on the other end, a layup on the other end, and then another stop led to a Magbuhos three in the corner, and then their defense of switching, and then Mocon, you know, ended up with 10 points, had the last basket to end the third quarter. And to me, this is important for a team like Nueva Ecija, because coaches always talk about, as you see Robbie Celis' numbers, 9 for 14, 26 and 5. Coaches always talk about killer instinct. That stretch to me was Nueva Ecija showing that killer instinct. Lead of 14, extending to 25, and finishing off South Cotabato, which is a playoff team, by the way, and then winning by as much as 19.
Now they're going to be challenged by the Sarangani Marlins, who again had the upset versus Nueva Ecija last year in that 50-point game of Jeff Viernes. But this time around, it's going to be Ryan Sual who will be leading the way for them. In their previous outing, they lost to Binyan.
Well, Ryan Sual, nabanggit mo nga, no, second leading scorer in the league at 18. Number 12 na ngayon itong Sarangani. You know, in the South, obviously no chances for playoffs. But in this game against Binyan, it was still close, you know, after the first quarter. But the second quarter, we're in Binyan with a 21-12 run. You know, the rest, as they say, was history. Second chance points. Kita mo, lamang itong Binyan, which is our host also tonight. And Sarangani, just like the other non-playoff teams, these are tryouts for players.
Yes.
You know, it sounds cliche, but that's the reality. And the players showing Coach John Calios and the rest of the other coaches, no, who are building for the next season, kailangan mapakita nyo that you are worthy, you know, of a contract and being part of a team.
Well, J. Mark Malyari actually showed up against his former team. Remember, he was a part of this Binyan Tatak Gel squad, but he played 0 minutes for them. Having transferred to Sarangani, he has blossomed as a star.
14 points para sa kanya in 22 minutes. Shot the ball almost 67%, had 7 rebounds, 3 assists. And what's impressive in that game, he had 10 in the second half. The only thing was, in that game, as we mentioned, it was a little bit too late, as Binyan had a highest lead of 19 in the second half. Good effort nonetheless by Malyari.
Well, Ryan Sual was relatively shut down as well, only having 8 points versus Binyan Tatak Gel. So it's good that they had those numbers from J. Mark Malyari. Now we turn you over to Richard Campos.
Season 4 champion Nueva Ecija Rice Vanguards. At forward number 8, Robbie Celis. Playing center number 23, Jay Collado. One guard number 24, JC Collar. At forward number 26, Ilonggo Superman, Billy Ray Robles. Starting at guard number 51, Big Bang Toto, Byron Villarias. The head coach is Don Dulay. Assistant coaches Rob Wainwright, Matt Macalindal, Arnold Oliveros, Rick Season, Derek Evangelista, and Jonathan Oiloan. Team consultant Von Monta, assistant team manager Jen Dignandice, team manager Raymond Dizon, team owners are Ivan Cuevas and Bong Cuevas. Now starters for Sarangani Marlins. At forward number 4, Zach Sanfelipe. Two guard number 5, Manny J. Mark Malyari. Point guard number 7, Jomar Madayag. Playing center number 13, Coy Alves. Power forward number 21, Benji Jimenez. The head coach is Master J.K. John Calios. Assistant coaches Gilbert Cole, Joshua Inocentes, Jeff Cleopas, Jock Labrador, John Covarrubias, Ray Lima, and Manuel Agliput. Team manager is Architect.
We have our starters, brought to you by SportsMax, powered by PlayMax, the official online entertainment partner of the MPBL. Win to the max. It's Lucas Cullar with Byron Villarreal, Jay Collado, Robbie Celis, and Billy Robles for Nueva Ecija. And then we have Jomar Madayag, J. Mark Malyari, Coy Alves, Benji Jimenez, and Zach San Felipe for the Sarangani Marlins. Thank you for joining us, folks. This is Mix Gomez at your service alongside Coach Christian Luanzon, who's wearing a cap right now. Wow! It's the first time I've seen you like that here at the sideline.
Okay lang, ikaw lang naman nakakita.
Ayun, no? Ayun, nasa ilalim po ng TV screen kung magbibigyan ng airtime mamaya.
Haven't you heard? You know, my team is winning the 2024-25 NBA Championship next year. We got Bronny James.
Well, nothing else has changed, right?
Right?
Roster-wise.
Yeah.
So, I'm a Laker fan too. I kind of share your feelings with that.
I'm glad you said that because bago mo nasabi yun, hindi ko maramdaman yung aura mo eh.
Low-key lang ako eh.
Disappointed ka yata sa team natin. Pero
low-key lang as Robbie Celis scores.
Doon, hindi nakaka-disappoint yun. Mahusay talaga itong manlalaro, no, si Robbie Celis. And I must say, in much better shape, you know, compared to the start of the season. No, halos wala na yung kanyang belly.
Actually, I was remembering that at the start of the season,
mas ano siya eh, parang mas condition siya ngayon.
Ang naalala ko lang kasi, bugbog sila nung simula.
Oo.
Kasi nanggaling silang 8-10 man rotation in the PSL finals. They really had to rest out for a couple of games as Benji Jimenez misfired. Rebound Robles.
Layo nun.
4 points yun para kay Benji Jimenez. But he will shoot a lot. This guy also in Byron Villarreal. Byron able to score.
Actually, that was a good close out by Malyari. The thing is, masyadong bukas yung gitna. One thing about closing out, you also have to contain. And that was not the perfect example of it, as Villarreal able to get his first two. One of the better two-way guards we have in the league now, Byron Villarreal.
That's why I always have to highlight his steals per game, especially in the past couple of seasons, so that his defense would at least have a backup numbers-wise.
But it's more than just the steals. Obviously, he has great defensive instincts, you know. And he's not the type, magandang intensity niya. Ang ganda ng drop pa si Collier doon kay Robles. Maganda yung intensity niya sa depensa, yung desire niya sa depensa. But he's not the type wherein, if it's the first time you've seen him play, not the rah-rah type of player, but you know he's intense, you know he's engaged. And
ayun, no?
Tulad nun, you know, ang ganda rin ng anticipation niya, even on ball. Paggalaw ng paa, pagtapik ng bola.
And I'm happy that he still moves like this as we take a look at this beautiful feed by Cullar onto Billy Robles. Because Byron hasn't really played as much this season. That's a nice block.
I believe he started the season off an injury, diba? And, you know, basically worked his way into shape, into game shape as the season went along. Early timeout by Coach John Calios. Bakit nga hindi? Mukhang yan yung tamang desisyon. 8-0 in less than 2.5 minutes. Kita mo naman to. Team ball. Post, cut, pass, layup. Robbie Celis picking up where he left off. 4 points na para sa kanya.
Back inside the Alonte Sports Arena where Robbie Celis is looking good. His team is up 8-0. They've had 4 field goals off of 3 assists. And again, this is a team that has been on a roll. Ever since they suffered that loss versus Binyan, which they said is one of the worst losses, if not the worst loss that they have had as members of Nueva Ecija. They have bounced back with wins versus South Cotabato, Quezon, and Batangas. All playoff teams or even contenders from the South.
Right. And this is in spite the fact that you could make a case this is one of the smallest teams in the league, at least for the top 8 teams. And I say that because you look at this lineup, ito yung usual 5 nila eh. Collado at the 5, Celis at the 4. And Celis on any team, easily you could put him at the 2 with his shooting ability. Obviously he's one of those rare complete players that we have in the league. Players usually have their sweet spots. To me, he doesn't have it feels like every spot on the floor is sweet.
Yes.
For Robbie Celis, because he could put the ball on the deck, get to the basket, he could post you up, he can even drive to post, and then shoot the ball from the outside, finish in transition. But I think their size could be an issue come playoff time. But JC Collado, obviously a champion, being a part. Macaloni also a champion. That changes if, and we could see it in stretches where in pag pinagsabay niya, itong guys like Robles, Celis, maybe a Collado, maybe a Baggio at the 4, and then Macaloni at the 5. But it shows also the flexibility of the former champion coach that they have in Coach Don Dulay.
Yes, they won the chip back in Season 3 versus the San Juan Knights. Billy Ray Robles was a part of that campaign. That's another big asset for them. He might not be the tallest, but he will definitely get the boards for you.
And just to parang explain further what I'm trying to say, madalas niya kasing gamitin ito si Solis sa 4. Even at times, si Billy Robles, even during those days in Davao, kina-4 niya itong si Billy Robles, si 5, si Marquis.
Yes.
Diba? So, it's a formula that has worked. But remember, 2 seasons ago, we're in our 6th season. 3 seasons ago, this is a much taller league now.
Oh, yes.
This is a much taller league now, especially with the arrival of Baltasar, specifically Baltasar and si Greg Slaughter.
Nagiging standard nga ang kampyonato sa MPBL, in which case, this season, everybody had to adjust to the Giant Lanterns. And there you see Coach John Callios very unhappy. We'll have our first challenge. Sarangani still scoreless, 10-0.
The challenge of Sarangani Marlies was unsuccessful. Foul on number 13, Coy Alves is first.
It is a foul by Coy Alves after all, as he tried to contain Jay Collado.
Yeah, the hold. Nung nakaharap pa lang itong si Jay Collado, the hold by Alves, as you saw on the replay, that was clear.
And then the push at the last second
Right.
to cap it off. High-low action. Jay Collado just using his heft in the interior.
Right, it was a simple play on the out of bounds under that developed after the pass on top. A little back screen from a guard to a 5, and then a lob pass for Jay Collado.
Yes.
A lob pass for Jay Collado, but he's one of those guys where even undersized, just has a nice feel underneath the basket. A touch, that touch around the basket. Not to mention, can shoot the ball from the outside
Oh,
too.
yes, that's his specialty as Kawamura is fouled. Have you actually noticed the weight loss by JJ Collado?
Not that much.
Not that much.
Not that much. Pero kasi, inabot ko pa to eh. Jay Collado, on my last year before I parang called it quits. And sanay na si Jay sa ganyang timbang.
Yeah.
And there are certain players, that pag tinanggal mo yung ganyang timbang, sometimes naninibago pa sila.
Yes.
No, naninibago at mas feeling nila mas effective sila with that weight. You know, I think a perfect example would be Pangasinan big man,
Shaq Taganas.
Shaq Taganas.
I had to bring up the weight loss of Jay Collado because, as you mentioned, may love pa siyang natatanggap. In the past couple of games of Nueva Ecija, he has given us a highlight. Tipong may hang time na siya bago pumasa.
Right.
And then he also had a double cross step back in their previous game versus South Cotabato, which kind of gave me an impression that his mobility is better recently. To which he said na, yun nga, pumayat siya ng onte. As Ryan Suwal converts.
That's a great observation. And obviously, yung sinabi niya rin sa'yo. Because, you know, I'm not an SNC coach, but I've been around a lot of them, a lot of great ones too, including, you know, our young SNC coach right now in UP, Coach Dwight De Mayo.
Oh,
And
he was my former teammate.
Coach Dwight?
Yeah.
Yeah?
In Claret.
Oh.
Shout out
I
to
didn't know
Coach
that.
Dwight.
Yeah. So, you know, your mobility actually makes you stronger. The more mobile you are, you know, it's not just the physical, the eye test wherein you see big muscles, automatic malakas ka na.
Yeah.
You know,
As this 3-point shot is brought to you by Extreme One-Stop Shop Appliances.
having big muscles doesn't automatically equate to strength. But the more flexible you are, the more mobility you have, the more you could, you know, stretch those muscles out, the more stronger you are actually. The more strength you have.
And Dwight would know because as Koy Alves scores
He's
inside.
strong. He's strong.
Dwight was my point guard, and yet he was the one who was dominating the most in the weights room
And
back in our high school days.
As you see the scoring run by Sarangani after that 10-0 start. Ngayon,
12-0 start.
12-0 start. Ngayon, 7-0 na. Itong Sarangani, pero pinutol na kagad ni JC Colliar on that daredevil drive. May kasama pang foul. Did you know that si Coach Dwight ngayon, MMA fighter?
Ah, talaga?
Yeah.
Ang galing ah. Big shout out to you, Dwight. And a big shout out to Lucas Colliar as well for that conversion. So that followed this pass inside by Ryan Suwal onto Koy Alves. Alves, by the way, just came off of his third double-double this season versus Binyan. Colliar misfires from the line. Rebound by Suwal. Another 4 minutes in the opening frame. Ryan stepping back. Now it's Joseph Celso. Back to Suwal with 11 on the shot clock. All-star versus all-star. Good defense by Macaloni. And it was almost a stop by Nueva Ecija. Sarangani will have 5 seconds to work with.
John Wilson, who just the former MPBL MVP, now obviously you can say in the twilight of his career. I like the energy he's showing on the defensive end. As soon as he came in off the bench, as Suwal forced a tough shot, echoing everything at the backside, makes a good pass right here. He reminds me of a young JRU John Wilson.
Wow.
No, kaya ang ganda ng pasok niya na ngayon, giving a good contest, although naipasok ni Kawamura. Iba na kasing role niya at this point of his career at syempre yung role niya rin dito sa Nueva Ecija.
So he's reminding you of his version when he wasn't MVP yet sa JRU.
Yeah, just trying to make a name for himself, you know, doing the intangibles. You know, from what I remember sa kanya, you know, he's always that energy guy, you know, on the defensive end, vocal. Yun yung nakikita ko sa kanya ngayon.
This
So
fast
far,
break of the game.
pagkapasok niya.
This fast break of the game is brought to you by Sports Max, powered by Play Max, the official online entertainment partner of the MPBL win to the max. As MJ Ayaay just gave us a bit of an MJ move there, holding on to the ball.
Showing off. Really, rightfully so. Alabong Alvarez na kamay.
You know,
Bit na yan.
MJ Ayaay has had a nice stretch lately. He scored 13 versus South Cotabato, and he's now the third leading scorer of Nueva Ecija, behind their 2 All-Stars.
And they're going to need that from him and even from guys like John Wilson and si Bayo, because against a San Juan team who's the #1 team as of today That's the deepest team in the league, in my opinion. And to compete with them, you got to have a deep roster as well.
Since you mentioned San Juan, you covered that game versus Pampanga. What was it that you saw from the Knights that convinced you that they really deserve this #1 seed?
Asgaa with a 4-point play coming up, fouled by Chris Botoon. Yeah, just like what I said, their depth.
That's it.
That's it, yeah. Their depth, #1, and their discipline of execution. As ito, yung foul, maybe a landing spot type of situation, not much up on top. Their depth and also their discipline of execution. I don't think Coach Nani gets enough credit. You know, he's on paper, he's the assistant coach. You know, calling the shots during the game is si Senator Chingoy Estrada. They also have, you know, 25 greatest players of all time. Coach Philip Cesar right there. From what I hear, ang nagpapatakbo ng ensayo si Coach Nani Epundulan. Nagtutulungan sila ron, but mostly on his shoulders. So he deserves a lot of credit, you know, for, you know, in a sense, inheriting that San Juan team, because most of that team obviously coming from Coach Randy Alcantara, MPBL champion, Coach Yung Garcia now
with Abra,
with Abra, and also Mapua team. We have the NC. But how they have, you know, translated that team really into a well-oiled machine. I mean, to maximize whatever they can get from a Ray Hugnatan, for example, who's coaching and at the same time playing, and, you know, becoming an impact player para sa kanya, not only with his experience, but really the contributions on the floor. You know, winning plays, forget about the numbers, but, you know, timely baskets, timely screens, ang laking bagay para sa kanila. And also that youth on the wings.
Like the Mike Malonzos of the world.
Right.
As Biton makes a 3-pointer. So, Nueva Ecija will have their eyes set on San Juan and Pampanga, but now they have their eyes set on Sarangani. This is, if you think about it, manageable for the Marlins. Down by 9 as Gaa lost the ball. You have 28 seconds remaining before the end of 1. Biton working with Bahio at the backcourt. There is a 4-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. That's a foul.
And that's because Sarangani has one more foul to give after that one. At nakita niya, paatake na itong si Botoon. That's why if you're Nueva Ecija, you want to attack right away and expect another foul to be given up by Sarangani.
Bahio gives it up onto MJ Ayaay. Shot clock at 9. Ayaay trying to shake off Ryan Sual. 5 seconds. MJ still at it. Tough shot. That's good.
Talk about manufacturing and making a shot. MJ Ayaay, even with a good defense, was able to trump that with better offense.
Coach John Callios not too happy with the situation as they're down by 11
You know
points.
why? You know why? Because
Why?
he's telling Sual they had one more foul to give. They had one more foul to give. Kaya nagagalit si Coach John. Bakit hindi fumal si Sual, who was on ball, defense down, right there kay Ayaay.
So now we're showing you the highlights of the first quarter. We saw a 12-0 start by Nueva Ecija. Sarangani was able to respond, but Nueva Ecija responded late as well with their second unit coming into the picture. Bench scoring natin, almost the same at 10-11. This first quarter score is brought to you by GameX. GameX Sports, the official online basketball lending partner of the MPBL. Was the ending, GameX.
still here at the Alonte Sports Arena, and this is still Nueva Ecija versus Sarangani. Na-mention na nga kanina ang Nueva Ecija versus Binyan, and Robbie Celis shares that in this whole MPBL journey this season, that has been their biggest lesson. Sabi nga niya, for him personally, ayaw na niya maulit yung nangyari na hindi siya nakapag-contribute, at ito ang mission niya kada laro na nilalaro nila. But we have to note na may sumusunod na sa yapak niya dahil ang panganay niyang si Rob Celis already plays for San Juan in the Junior MPBL Under-16, and he spends his weekend supporting him. So asahan natin, kung hindi natin siya makikita dito sa MPBL, makikita natin siya sa Junior MPBL. Next and Coach Christian.
Thank you, Megan. As John Wilson makes a three-pointer. Last year, Rob Rainier Celis actually was a champion already in the Junior MPBL. And this year, we had our very first father-son all-star duo. One in the MPBL in Rob Celis, and in the Junior MPBL in Rob Rainier Celis.
Yeah, that's what I heard and is seeing. You know, I believe his son also plays for the Bullpups.
Yes, the game winner pa yun.
Oo, sa ANU, no? And obviously a bright future ahead. And minsan nangyayari, minsan hindi. Ano ibig ko sabihin? Minsan mana-mana sa tatay. Mukhang namana talaga. Baka mas maging mahusay pa, hindi mo masabi.
His son is a great scorer, by the way. He plays the guard position as Chris Bitoon was able to outlast the defense of Sarangani.
Talk about a guy who could score.
Yeah.
Bitoon.
On one last note with the Celis family, may susunod pa dun kay Rob Rainier. Si Rob Daniel naman.
Okay.
So, abangan din po natin.
Akala ko si Rob Wainwright.
Hindi, iba na yun. Ayan, underrated din yan sa MPBL. Matagal nang kasama si Coach Don Dulay.
Oo. Magaling na scorer yan back in the day. Nag-abot yan, tsaka si Paparehog Natan, ha?
Right.
Sa NBA.
Sa NBA?
Oo, Cebu Gems yan. No, so, just imagine what I said, okay? Reynald Hugnatan, who's still playing now at a high level, number 1 team in the MPBL, magkalaban sila ni Coach Rob Wainwright na assistant ngayon sa Nueva Ecija.
So that's 4 decades of excellence already for Reynald Hugnatan.
Mga 98 yun 2024 na ngayon.
Exactly. And the NBA had a bit of the same concept as MPBL.
Yeah.
Representing cities and provinces as Macaloni scores inside. Big shout out to Papa Reynel. This is Jomar Madayag trying to shake off Macaloni. Instead, they go to Sual. Ryan, almost a steal. Tough shot, no good. Good tap by Wilson. Recovery for Sarangani, but Sunga lost the ball. Back with Chris Biton. The defense has to settle down. Here's Macaloni, our all-star MVP. Giving it up to the former season MVP. Back to Macaloni. Sorry, miss, no foul. Kawamura on the other end. No basket. Forward pass. Macaloni, 2-on-1. Basket and one.
Oh, just one of those moments where I always say, you got to be used to me, where I always say, this is one of those Elsa moments.
Yeah, okay.
You just got to let it go.
I know it, yeah. This fast pick of the game is brought to you by SportsMax, powered by PlayMax, the official online entertainment partner of the MPBL.
If you're Madayag,
went to the max.
If you're Madayag, 2-on-1, you're not the tallest person in the world against one of the tallest guys in this game. You just gotta let it go instead of giving up the three-point play.
Exactly.
Foul ka na, may extra free throw pa.
And Macaloni is one of the best free throw shooters in the league. Inside scoring natin 25-6. Ball tapped away by Ayaay. But apparently it was off of
Celso.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good help switch right there by Nueva Ecija. Ayaay recovering to the man wherein tinulungan siya. No.
Ayaay on the other end. Nice fake. And the feed. Sorry, miss for Bitoon.
Ring muna yung tinamaan bago board eh. Pag gano'n na nangyayari, usually mintis talaga tulad ng layup ni Bitoon sa loob.
On the other end, no answer by Alves. And here's Bahio. Nice bounce pass onto MJ. Back to JB.
Nice move.
Bahio will score.
Sa Tagalog, ano mo tawag doon?
Ano?
Minama.
Binaba.
Oo, yan talaga yung advantage sa transition. Usually safety, mga guardia. Pag big man mo tumatakbo, natanggap niya sa gitna, advantage na siya. Kadalasan maliit yan.
Now it's a turnover for Ryan Swal. Good defense by John Wilson. As now, we have Kenneth Mocon checking in for the first time, and Gab Dagangon, who also celebrated his birthday last September 7. So belated to Gab Dagangon. There's turnaround for JB Bahio. Here's John for 3. That's good. The lead is 20 now.
Once an MVP and a 20-point scorer, and John Wilson with his second three, or third three of the ball game for 9 points.
The last game that Nueva Ecija played here in Binyan, John Wilson was the best player versus Batangas City. So he looks to be comfortable in this venue. 4 minutes gone by in the second. This is Zach San Felipe, fouled by JB Bahio. Bahio, on the other hand, was the best player of Nueva Ecija when they lost to Binyan. Well, that's a guy who's a champion already with Pampanga last year. The Rice Vanguards in this quarter have limited Sarangani to only 6 points, while they have scored 15 on the other end. J. Mark Malyari. There's a foul.
Dagangon on Koy Alves.
That foul was actually called by our woman referee. I want to give a shout out to her, in Marinel Olande. She is the second woman referee this year for the MPBL. Siyempre may exception yan dahil onti lang naman sila na nakaabot sa ganitong liga. Big shout out to referee Carol Guay, the OG woman referee of our league.
How about the defense? All right there. Not only the block by John Wilson, but Macaloni moving his feet twice. You know, taking away not only the first but the second move of the smaller Malyari, and then the block by Wilson that led to the turnover and the layup. What a beautiful defensive stop by Nueva Ecija, even though they were up by 20 before that one. Look at this one. You see how he moved his feet, and because malapit na siya dun sa help defense, just with 2 to 3 dribbles, you're on the other end quickly with an easy 2. And it all starts on your hard-working defense.
Wilson is now in double figures with 11. He is the leading scorer in this game. There's a whistle blown.
Yeah, minsan hindi totoo yung the best things in life are free. Because it's sweeter when you work hard for them. Di ba? Yung pinaghihirapan mo and then nakikita mo yung bunga tulad ng isang simpleng defensive sequence na pinaghihirapan, nakaagaw ka pa, naka-layup ka pa, easy basket sa kabila pero pinaghirapan mo on the other end.
There's a technical foul called on Coach John Calios. That's why Gab Dagangon is at the line.
Parinig niya nga pala yun dahil birthday mo kahapon.
Thank you.
Nung isang araw.
Salamat. Wala po tayong libre sa araw na to. Sideline for Kenneth Mocon. This is Will Macaloni against Joseph Celso. Macaloni barging his way through, and he's fouled. And that allows me to bring back the conversation that we had a couple of months ago when we were in Parañaque. I hope you remember it. I brought up to you kung sino ang all-time starting five mo sa MPBL. Babalikan natin yan mamaya as now we go to Megan Cabrera.
Migs, Will Macaloni says that regardless of standings, walang complacency para sa Nueva Ecija dahil pa rin nila yung laro nila laban sa Sarangani last year, kung saan Sarangani ang nawagi. So he is bringing all the lessons he learned from the recently concluded All-Star Games, especially in terms of being versatile, and will continue to play the Nueva Ecija way. Pero alam niyo bang one of the sports that Will enjoys playing, aside from basketball, is badminton. So he plays with his family, pero sabi niya leisurely lang naman, pero he says that it really helps when it comes to his footwork and agility. Mix and Coach Christian.
Right, badminton has a lot of translatable skills for basketball. Lalo na yung yung footwork mo.
Oo, dapat matibay yung ankles mo dyan. Kasi moving side to side, forward, very prone sa ankle injury yan.
Paano pa kaya kung tennis? Kung saan mas mabilis ang bola doon as McAloney misses, but he got his board. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to score. Jomer Madayag,
Good foul.
he was very fast on that.
Poor
sequence.
foul actually. I thought they were the ones with one more foul to give.
Free throws na tayo.
Oo, penalty na pala. Yun lang, itong Sarangani ang 3 team fouls.
McAloney will sit down. I was about to bring up to you kung saan mo mailalagay si Will McAloney sa all-time MPBL teams mo.
That's a tough one. I would probably have him in my second team.
Behind
Baltasar, Marquis.
yun na yun sa big man eh.
Yeah, and I remember Gabanal because he had a terrific season where he won that MVP. Although he has yet to win an MPBL championship.
Yeah.
Diba? But
he was like LeBron back in the day.
oh, grabe yun. That was the season, the pandemic season.
Yeah.
Kasi naalala ko, nag-ano yun eh, yun yung MPBL Canada Tour, which he was a part of.
Di ba may Dubai din nun?
Right. There was Dubai. Dubai was first. And then Canada, and there was supposed to be New Zealand kung hindi natuloy yung pandemic, and Japan.
Wow. In fairness sa on tour,
Oo.
hindi lang Bispin invasion.
Kakaiba si Boss Manny eh. So, for the guards, at this point,
Naku, magbabago na.
hirap yan.
Ang gandang pinapakita ni Orlan Wamar.
Yeah. I mean, I would put Wamar in because of, not only because of how he's performing the last 2 to 3 seasons. He's an MPBL champion, obviously, but his role during that second season was much different. He was the third point guard at that time. But the story of how he got here,
Yeah.
you know, and having success now,
He's
and still being with the same team.
Yeah, the number 1 seeded team.
Yeah, and with San Juan.
And he's a 2-time 3-point champion, by the way.
Right, which obviously doon nagkamali ako because I had my money on his teammate, itong si
That's Soberano.
Soberano, because he's shooting the ball 50%
Yeah.
before the All-Star break last weekend.
I would say that was the safest
Diba?
bet.
It's not being safe, pero iba yung kamay ni Soberano this season.
As this free throw is brought to you by Extreme Appliances, ang subok at kompletong appliance brand ng Pilipinas. So you'd put Wamar over JC now?
No, I'm putting JC at the 2 spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you have
Kasi
your
scoring guard
starting
yun eh.
five. Oh,
Yeah.
oo nga naman.
Scoring guard yun eh. So yun.
Have you ever thought about the rest of your second unit as Alves got the steal? No foul, no basket.
You know what? I might put in there, this might be a shock to you,
Sino?
Dexter Apinan.
No, it's not a shock to me. Because Apinan has 2 MPBL selections, all MPBL selections, 1 first team.
Right. And maybe a shock to others because he's not a quote-unquote big name. But he's been one of the most consistent players, not only under Coach Cholo, but really ever since from the start of his MPBL career. Even ngayon with the advanced age, how he plays hard, his impact on the floor, how his ability to rebound from court to court, find the open man. I'm going to put him in there.
I think what kind of does not help him in that argument is the fact that he has Cedric Ablaza alongside him.
Right.
Alam mo, parang nagka-cancel ka ng votes.
Which is obviously the better player, the more skilled player. No, si Ced Ablaza.
And that's a squad that has reached the division finals, three times in a row already?
Right.
One with Makati and two with Batangas. As there's a miss by Sarangani and there's a loose ball foul. There's our Season 4 Finals MVP, Byron Villarias, called for it. Koy Alves will proceed to the line. Napa-research ako a couple of months ago when I was thinking about my all-time MPBL teams.
Right.
And then it reminded me that Chris Biton is a two-time all-MPBL team selection.
Right.
When he was with Manila, he was different.
Correct.
And then
time nila yun, nung kakampi niya sila Cervantes.
Aris Janicio as well.
Aris Janicio. It's such a... To talk about all time, I think it's fascinating, but at the same time, small sample size.
Yeah.
Kasi 6 seasons pa lang tayo.
Yeah.
Maybe once we get into our 10th season, which is obviously not far-fetched, considering how we have leaped over season by season. Baka doon, mas klaro na, mas may clarity na eh.
Ngayon parang rough sketch pa lang tayo as J. Mark Valyari shoots and misses. Rebound Dagangon. The first ever MPBL best player.
Tsaka baka maglaro na ako nun. So, MPBL 40 above.
Kala ko may return of the comeback eh. Uy, pero kung may magkaroon nga ng 40 above, interesting yan. Ang tanong ko, yung mga 40 above ba na nasa regular MPBL season,
Yun!
aangat ba doon?
Hindi pwede.
Di ba? Ilalaro nila to
Huwag nila nang pahirapan yung buhay namin.
We do have a handful, and that's just a big testament to their conditioning, their dedication. It's a baseline inbound.
Baka pag nakita ko na si Reynel Hugnata, magprotesta pa ako.
Kasi ikaw babantay dun eh. This is Koy Alves scoring inside.
20-point lead still, even after that basket.
Alves is now...
Just in cruise control, really, itong Nueva Ecija.
Yeah. Alves is the third player to reach double figures behind Ryan Sual and John Wilson. That is a steal by Lars Sunga. One-on-one action. No more chase by Rob Celis. Celis visibly frustrated, but they do have a nice cushion. 52-34. This is Kenneth Mocon. On to Jay Collado. They go to Byron. Nice fake. That's a clear hold.
Right, because they have one more foul to give. A good job by Sarangani of letting the play develop and fouling at the right moment with one more foul to give. This was a good steal and a good finish.
Robbie Celis tried to time it perfectly. After all, he's in the top 10 in blocking in the league, but unable to do so in that sequence as Villarias scores inside. And so it's going to be a 20-point advantage for the Nueva Ecijanos at halftime.
What a finish by Byron Villarias. If you remember, that was the exact spot where he got his first basket of the ball game, same side as well, and he finishes off the second half with another basket in on that spot.
It's a perfect first half for John Wilson. 4 total field goals, 3 of them from downtown. 11 points for the former MVP, picking up where he left off in their last game that happened inside the Alonte Sports Arena. Their win versus the Batangas Rum Masters. Let's see if he could get another nod in today's outing. This halftime score is brought to you by GameX. GameX Sports, the official online basketball lending partner of the MPBL. That's the ending. GameX. Our halftime score is 54-34 in favor of Nueva Ecija versus the Sarangani Marlins. The biggest lead was actually 27 points for the Rice Vanguards here inside the Alontes Sports Arena. And it's been pure dominance for them as Sarangani hasn't led since the beginning.
Tama ka dyan, no, Mix? Kasi itong Nueva Ecija, even though they're going up against a below 500 non-playoff team, obviously, they have their sights in the next few weeks, which is the playoffs. Nabanggit natin yan in the pregame, wherein it looks to be that number 3 spot. They will solidify that number 3 spot. Wala na silang chance mag 1 and 2, pinagtatalunan na lang yan ng San Juan tsaka Pampanga depending on what happens in the next few games. So, I think what's important with the remaining games that they still have is obviously working on their habits and at the same time create a rhythm wherein you could carry that into your practices, into the next few games, and just continue to build on that. And at the same time, pagpasok ng playoffs, you'll be ready. Doon mo kukunin yung kumpiyansa mo sa preparasyon mo.
It's not going to be a cakewalk, by the way, for Nueva Ecija because their last games are going to be against Abra, Rizal, and Pasay. All playoff teams in the North Division. As you get to see our leading scorers, John Wilson and Jake Oliado combined for 20. And then it's Koy Alves and Ryan Suwal combining for 21 on the other end. John Wilson hasn't missed a shot so far, which is similar to how he performed versus Batangas City. He only had one miss back then, and he was the best player.
Yeah, and he was also a big part kung bakit 31 ang naging production out of the 54 ng bench. Nitong Nueva Ecija. John Wilson came off the bench, less than 10 minutes of play, pretty much one quarter, and had 11 points. And perfecto siya. Yung kanyang field goals.
So it could be like the bench of Sarangani or of Nueva Ecija versus the entire Sarangani team as of this moment, and that tally would only have a difference of 5 points. As the ball went out of bounds, Billy Robles will be inbounding from the baseline. Ilonggo's Superman to Byron. Now it's Rob Celis. Again, he can do just about anything.
Even shooting jumpers with one leg.
Yeah, it looks so basic for him. Diputado pushing over his defender, and he scores 2+1.
You can just see that how hard Sarangani has to work for their shots compared to how easy Sarangani gets theirs.
Or Nueva Ecija gets theirs.
Yeah, Nueva Ecija gets theirs in the half court.
Diputado able to convert. If there's one thing impressive about Rev Diputado this season, it's his assists to turnover ratio, which as a guard is very important. He's number 3 in the league at that. 31 assists to 5 turnovers.
Turnovers, ang pinag-uusapan. Ayun, offensive foul ang tinawagan kay Robbie Celis on that DHO action. And that's a great point that you make because itong si Diputado, has a little bit of, a pass first and at the same time knows how to score guard. Para sa akin, pinipili niya yung mga sitwasyon kung kailan siya i-score, kailan din siya papasa. Pero ito si Villarias, basta makakita ng butas, lalo na sa tres. Titira yan.
That's the first 3 of Byron in this game. He has 7 points. The lead is 20. Diputado will shoot. No answer. Rebound Celis. That's board number 5 for Robbie Celis. Handoff to Billy Robles. Drive and feed. Nice fake by Byron, and that's an opening for him.
Good offense, but more of the defense was the problem right there. Just a simple drive and kick, shot fake, counter drive by Nueva Ecija. The defense was nowhere to be found.
Ooh, there's a man down.
Ayun, may nahanap na depensa. Mukhang sinagasaan. Ito si
Kaya nga.
Malyari ni Collado.
And pag ganun, mismatch talaga yung point guard.
Oo.
This three-point shot is brought to you by Extreme One-Stop Shop Appliances. The ball just ended up on the hands of Byron Villarias, our Season 4 Finals MVP. Our Sunga. Contested well by Byron. And here's Lucas. Cross court. Villarias. Catch and shoot. Short. Ryan Suwal on the other end.
Look at the defense by JC Collier.
Yeah, he's known for that. And it's a steal by Robles.
Good drop off the weak side to anticipate that steal by Robles.
Cullar down the middle. Nice play. Sorry, miss. Put back for the Ilongos Superman.
Showing his strength. JC Collier able to split the defense, just unable to finish. Diputado got away with a travel. Suwal sinks in the pass from Rev.
Let's check the three-point shooting of Ryan Suwal. He is now up to 3 threes in this game. He's already breached the 6 3-pointers in a game mark 6 times this season. The 7th, actually, he had 7 threes in that game. So, ganun po ka-volume shooter itong si Ryan Suwal. He averages 11 attempts from downtown.
Another product of St. Clair under that Coach Gino Manansala program.
It's his show with Aaron Estacio of the Marikina Shoe Masters following the departure of Jimboy Estrada. 5 on the shot clock. Diputado. Rev will shoot. No good. Rebound Celis. Almost 4 minutes gone by in the third. Nice block by Alves. Collado, no foul. JJ, let's slow things down. Here's Colliar. 7 on the shot clock. Lucas bounces. Robbie onto the corner. Nice play. Sorry, miss though. Recovery, but there's a loose ball foul.
Mukhang kay Superman.
Yes.
Kay Ilonggo.
Kanyang na-super push din itong si J. Mark Malyari. There's Coach Don Dulay. Not looking so stressed in this game as compared to the other outings. They do have a 21-point cushion.
It does help when you're up by 21.
Pero
Trust me, I know.
Pero mas kalmado yung Ralph Rivera kanina.
Oo naman. Nakaupo yan buong time eh.
Naka-4 the whole time. This is Billy Robles on to Robbie Celis. Byron will shoot. As he makes that three-pointer, do you think he's a missing piece this season for Nueva Ecija? Or not necessarily?
Well, what do you mean by a missing piece?
Like, would you say that if he becomes consistent again, like in Season 4, they could go back to, contention status like the San Juans and the Pampangas?
I'm not worried about him. I think Nueva Ecija is just right there. Are they in the same tier as San Juan and Pampanga? Maybe. If we're gonna parang label it, I put San Juan, Pampanga obviously first tier. Second tier, itong Nueva Ecija, Quezon, those teams, and then there's another level. But I'm not worried about him. We talked about this, nung start ng coverage ng first half. Him trying to get into game shape, missing the first few weeks with injuries and all that. Because I've always loved his mindset, especially on the defensive end.
Okay, thank you for that. As now we go to Megan Cabrera.
Migs, during the Sarangani halftime huddle, Coach John was actually very quick to point out 3 things. Una, na hindi sila komportable. 2, that they can't play half-court at 3, kailangan tigasan pa nila yung laro nila. And aside from the technical aspect, ang bilin nga ni Coach sa second half nila ay mag-communicate sila to level their emotion. At pangatlo, magka-pride sa loob ng court and really show out dahil para sa kanila rin daw yon and for their futures as players. He reminds them that this is the MPBL and they play hard defense, so there is no room for baby shots. Migs and Coach Christian.
Well, so far in the third quarter, it hasn't been too much of an improvement. It's really more of just evening things out with Nueva Ecija as Robbie Celis scores inside. Kung tutusin nga, lamang pa rin ang Rice Vanguards in this frame.
Yeah, 14-10.
Let's see if they can exhibit more of their pride as Koy Alves scores for Sarangani. Alves has had to battle it out with the big men of the MPBL this season. Although we give props to him for all of his hard work as Macaloni scores inside. You can just feel though that he really is missing his buddy in King Destacamento. Si Marvin Hayes, wala rin. As display of the game is brought to you by Suzuki. MJ Ayaay with a nice bounce pass onto Robbie Celis.
And that ball screen, empty corner action. Just an easy pass on the roll in Robbie Celis. Pero Koy Alves, back-to-back baskets for him.
He has 14 now, following his 10-point performance versus Binyan. Ayaay going to Robbie Celis. It's Byron left wide open. And that's too easy. 15 points for Byron in this game.
Basketball is easier when, 1, you're in shape. 2, when the defense is helping you by not playing defense.
It's a 3-pointer on the other end. As a timeout is called with 3 minutes and 19 remaining in the third. It is 73-52. This fan of the game is brought to you by Jinky Skin. Great to have her here inside the Alonte Sports Arena in Binyan, Laguna. She looks familiar. I need to confirm first. Jonathan Uyloan.
So that
the
was
wife.
Mrs. Uyloan.
Yeah, there you go.
Jonathan, a part of the Nueva Ecija Vanguards.
Jonathan
Is he part of the coaching staff?
I saw his
He's still a part of the
roster.
right?
He played 1 game.
He did, right? Yeah.
That's it. And then assistant coach na the rest of the way. Which is good for him. At least naalagaan pa rin siya ng Nueva Ecija as Ayaay scores inside.
Well, I think it goes both ways, because I've always envisioned him to become a coach the way he plays.
Well, he was the captain of that squad that won the championship
Right.
back in season 4.
Yeah.
Koy Alves is called for a foul. He has 3, which is his average all season long. He's number 1 in the league in fouls per game. And it's going to be MJ Ayaay who will proceed to the line. This guy averages 8 points per game as the third leading scorer of Nueva Ecija behind Robbie Celis and Will Macaloni. But then again, it's been well balanced this season for Nueva Ecija in terms of scoring.
13 points, 5 of 8 from the field, 2 coming from downtown, and a couple rebounds and a couple highlights in this game. Especially, what was that, the first layup? Ayun, binitbit niya yung bola, no?
Ang tawag dun sa move na yun, binibit-bit ko. Meron ba? Hindi Statue of Liberty yun, di ba?
Bong Alvarez ang
Bong
tawag ko
Alvarez
rin.
ang tawag mo
Si
doon.
Bong Alvarez ang nagpasikat yan eh. James Yap also.
Right. Diputado, no good. And there's a foul, apparently by Bahio. Much to everybody's surprise. Nilet go na lang din ni JB. Si Daniel Valenzuela, kanyang na-foul, who's making his first appearance in this game. Ayan, the challenge.
Coach Don Dulay, who's a good friend of mine, former teammate. Now, he's not saying anything, but in his mind,
Yeah.
trust me, come on, man. Yun yun. Yun sinasabi yan.
Saan ka pe?
PBL.
How is he like? Okay.
Smart point guard.
Smart point guard.
Good shooter.
The challenge of Nueva Ecija was unsuccessful. Foul on JB Bahia.
Nice reactions from Coach Don and Coach Rob Wainwright. Again, they're up by 25.
Yeah.
So,
Yung una, no, before he called the
Ayun.
challenge, yeah, it was, come on, man. Pero nung naging successful na, come on, man. He's from LA, by the way.
so smart point guard,
Good shooter.
good shooter.
And more importantly, one of the nicest people you'll meet.
Actually, easily one of the best interviews as well that you'd have here in the
Not to
MPBL.
mention a former neighbor. Nakalimutan ko.
Talaga?
Yeah, 12 years ago.
Kamusta naman siya bilang neighbor?
Okay naman, lagi ko iniistorbo yan eh. So, I would say, mahabang pasensya.
Oh, that's good. Especially that he's a coach.
And anyone who calls me friend, mahaba ang pasensya.
This is Joseph Celso, who misfires. That guy played well in the previous outing. Scored a season-high 15. But he hasn't caught fire in this game. Under 2 minutes in the third. Pick and roll. Basic basketball for Nueva Ecija. Those two players are two-time all MPBL selections.
You know what I was about to say about that layup?
What?
Diba? Because you said it was an easy basket.
Oh.
As you see a foul once again against Nueva Ecija.
Oh.
It's just like, you know, frying an egg.
An egg?
An egg. Pero sa isip ko, buti na hindi ko sinabi.
Bakit?
Kasi hirap ako magluto ng itlog. So,
Baka naman gutom ka lang.
oo nga.
Well, after all, it's
especially
dinner time.
especially a perfect diba? Over easy.
Yeah. Kahit naman ako, ang hirap ga rin talaga. Kaya mas mabuting kumakain na lang tayo.
Scrambled na lang eh. Scrambled na lang yung pinakamadaling gawin eh. Bara-bara kasi dating.
This is Gab Dangangon returning. So it's a smaller lineup now for Nueva Ecija.
They still look taller though than Sarangani.
Dangangon is playing with Wilson, Biton, Macaloni, and Ayaay as Wilt. Nice feed. Oh, he got it back. Sorry, miss though. 1 minute and 15 before the end of the third. Celso. Sorry, miss again. Recovery for Joseph. Wala pa rin. Madayag soaring high for that rebound. And he was fouled.
2 shots will be rewarded for that hard-working rebound na nakuha ni Madayag over pretty much everyone.
This guy has had a couple of good moments for himself this season. Nangagaling sa South. Isa sa mga kaibigan niya ay si Ping Masaglang. Remember him?
Yeah.
Missed that guy.
Yeah.
He's been bothered by a knee injury.
Yeah. Talk about a small guy with a super jump shot.
Yung mid-range
Stop
niya,
and pop, stop and pop in transition.
Unti ka na nga mag-all-star MVP yun.
Parang wala nang deceleration eh. Mabilis, tapos biglang hihinto, jump shot sa ere.
At ibang klase ring dumepensa.
Oh.
As John Wilson threw that ball away. It's a miscue for Nueva Ecija. Napakamot na lang si Coach Rob Wainwright. Up by 24.
Katabi niya, si assistant nila, long time. Etong si Coach Matt Makalintal.
Nung season 3 pa lang, andun na yan.
Oo, pero matagal nang magkakasama yung staff na yan.
Joseph Celso converting from downtown. Those are his first 3 points in this matchup. John Wilson lost the ball. Wilson has been silenced here in the third quarter after having a perfect first half.
Good D.
MJ Ayai will push. 19 seconds. Bito on trailer. Gab Dagangon.
We'll talk about a textbook fast break. 3 passes right there from the rebound. And then a layup.
Last 3 seconds. Madayag. Good defense by John Wilson. No more shot attempt, but Nueva Ecija will end the third quarter up by 23.
You just like what you're seeing for Nueva Ecija, just to continuing to pound and not playing the score, continuing to execute and continuing to be part of our highlights of the game.
These are brought to you by Sip Plus, the official hydration partner of the MPBL. Elevate your hydration. Nueva Ecija has won all quarters so far. We'll break it down later on at the start of the fourth.
No
Byron
need.
Villarias.
No need.
I have to. Ipapakita yung graphic eh. 81-58. This third quarter score is brought to you by GameX. GameX Sports, the official online basketball lending partner of the MPBL. Basta ending GameX. Presenting our Suzuki, muscular and sporty fans of the game, just like the Avenis, do more and achieve more with a muscular and sporty scooter from Suzuki, the Avenis. Oras na para magmotor. Thank you for joining us. We are inside the Alonte Sports Arena. Later on, it's Iloilo versus Binyan for our main game. And this follows the victory of... Sino kanina? Kalimutan ko tuloy. Who defeated Imus? Oh, it was
Rizal.
Alvin Alday.
Yeah, Rizal,
had his
43
career game.
points.
There you go.
And look who's talking, Mr. 41-year-old.
Gab Dagangon makes a three-pointer. Etong quarter scoring
and I
natin.
thought I was the one who's in my 40s.
Quarter scoring
Ayan na,
natin, coach.
i-breakdown mo na. Ito yung simula ng Nueva Ecija. From the get-go, scoring 26 points and limiting Sarangani to 15. And what they're trying to do right now, as history would say, trying to put that to rest. Itong quarter na to, wag niyo nang bigyan ng kumpiyansa itong Sarangani because we've seen Sarangani, pull off couple strings in the fourth quarter of a comeback, whether it's an almost comeback or a completed comeback, because they have, the materials to do so. Rev Deputado with that three, still though a 23-point lead.
Deputado has been having a nice scoring day for himself. He's already in double figures with 12. Biton on the other end. No good. Rebound Sarangani, and here's Jomar Madayag. Always pushing. Deputado, screened by Celso.
Mahirap na tira yun.
Whoa!
Pero pumasok pa rin.
Macaloni had a big smile on his face when he saw that ball drop. 84-63. Dagangon wanting to post up.
Deputado, para pahirapan naman nila sa depensa.
Nice
Ayan.
play. Nice play.
Wala lang nagawa si Deputado kundi fumaul. Ang problema, too little, too late. But instead, gives up a three-point play.
Such a nice read. At kita mo eh.
Yeah, second feeder.
Naka-overplay eh.
Yeah, second feeder. No, wala yung angulo dun sa una kay Chris Bitoon. And that's when you see when experience comes to play. Young point guards will try to force the issue kahit wala yung angle. But instead, he reverses the basketball because Macaloni has a better angle, the second feeder. Okay, Dagangon, and leads him towards the open spot, which is on the other side for that reverse.
Deputado.
What an escape.
Sorry, miss. Seems like he's really intentional in terms of scoring as Biton is fouled on the other end.
Little crossover hesitation in stride.
This play of the game is brought to you by Suzuki. Ito yung miraculous shot ni Rep Diputado. Just lifted that ball up in the air and eventually it went in. You can't even blame Will Macaloni anymore with what happened. As Chris Biton now proceeds to the line, he has 5 points at 5 dimes. Biton actually suffered the longest winning streak individually for Nueva Ecija this season because he rested for a while. So, may stretch siya na naglaro siya nung San Juan and Pampanga, back-to-back losses yun. And then nagpahinga siya for the longest time. Pagbalik niya, talo naman sa Binyan.
Right.
It was his only 3-game losing streak as a part of Nueva Ecija, as Kawamura scores for Sarangani. So maganda naman sa Nueva Ecijanos, nakabawi na sila. They now have a 3-game winning streak of their own. Good tap by Celso.
Nahuli na, no? Trying to replicate that late end quarter play na ginawa ng Nueva Ecija. Same side, excuse me, between Macaloni right there. Pero na-anticipate na yung pasa sa kanya ni Ayaay.
The ball is back with Nueva Ecija though. Up by 24. Over 2 minutes gone by in the fourth. Close to 3 minutes actually, as Dagangon misfires. The ball just ended up in the hands of Macaloni.
Natulak ng bahagya ni Jimenez sa likod, no? Bihira mo makita yun, matutulak mo si Macaloni.
Macaloni almost traveled. He scores.
That's what I mean. No, itong si Macaloni. You know, from an eye test standpoint, kung hindi mo pa siya nakita maglaro, he looks big and heavy as Kamamura. Back-to-back baskets for him this time from the three-point line. But how impressive was that finish, the play before by Macaloni? Getting the ball in stride and then the balance to sidestep and finish as Ayaay with a corner jumper.
Oh, that's how you separated Macaloni from the likes of Balti Baltazar and Greg Slaughter. His driving ability.
Yeah, from a skill standpoint. And, you know, we've seen Justin do that a couple of times, even dribble court to court, but not really fluid in terms of movement. Etong si Macaloni, you know, fluid siyang tingnan eh, kahit na medyo malapad siya, no, at medyo mabigat siya. I would say Macaloni is about 245 because he's the same physique as our former player na si Henry Galinato.
Henry Galinato,
who now plays for Talk and Text.
right?
Yeah, one and done. You know, Henry was about 250.
Oo nga.
But Henry was about 6'7" though.
There's a weird thing though about Macaloni. His legs aren't the heftiest.
Oh,
Payat yung legs niya.
medyo payat
Pero
for
hindi-
his size.
Just so everybody knows, I asked him about it and it's not a problem for him. As this free throw is brought to you by Extreme Appliances, ang subok at kompletong appliance brand ng Pilipinas.
It's like a Hummer with a 12-inch, you know, wheels.
Yeah,
Parang
yeah.
ganun, di ba?
Oo.
Malapad pero yung goma mo medyo manipis, which is not a problem for him. Sabi mo nga.
95-68 off the conversion by Will Macaloni. It's a turnover, one guy ahead, and a breakaway for Chris Biton. What a separation created by Nueva Ecija. This is now their biggest lead in the game of 29 points. We have a timeout for Coach John Calios. These fans of the game are brought to you by Jinky Skin. Again, we're glad to have them inside the Alonte Sports Arena. Join us as well. Later on, Binyan will defend its home court against the Iloilo United Royals. before this game, Alwin Alday scored his career high, reaching the 40-point mark, able to outlast the 30-plus performance of Jameson Hero of Imos. And now we're seeing the well-balanced output of Byron Villarias, MJ Ayaay, and Will Macaloni, all in double figures. John Wilson also joins them in that list of scorers na umabot na ng 10-plus points as Alves scores for Sarangani.
A good play by moving the basketball. Sarangani after a timeout. Baseline ball screen action as John Wilson continues to hit from the outside. And then full rotation defensively by Nueva Ecija, was able to find a cutter underneath. I would say that's the best play they've executed in this game.
Assists story as Kawamura scores on the other end. So now we've seen a total of 31 plus 22, 53 assists in this game.
He was having quite a half, no? I don't see Kawamura. 8 points already for him, 11 for the game.
Mocon for 3. That's good. Nakita natin yan last game for Kenneth Mocon. In their previous outing, he made 2 threes en route to 10 points. Now we have Don Arenas about to check in. He's the hometown hero of Nueva Ecija. Siya yung katumbas ng Choi Ignacio.
Hindi ba look alike Hesen Gabo? Di ba yung tindig tsaka yung ano tawag, ano ba sinusuot ng mga kabataan ngayon? Ano ba yan? Parang yung
headband na yan?
Yung headband ba yan? O yung sa pro-rap na, di ba? Hindi ako makarelate eh. Wala kasi akong buhok.
Iba.
Imagine kung magsuot pa ako ng ganyan, di ba? Walang purpose. It's like wearing a crown.
Formal lang talaga. Heset, if you have any comment about that, feel free to message.
But if you can't perform, then sige, Japorms na lang.
Let's see if Arenas can actually convert with some baskets here.
Yeah, I mean, not to say that's him. I was actually referring to me. Kung magsuot ako niyan, sige, para magmukhang maporma lang. Ayun, diba? Sabi ko sa iyo, hindi lang puro forma yan.
It's a three-pointer
kita naman
for
sa
him.
bitaw eh. Maganda yung stroke.
Kawamura on the other end. Heat check for him. Let's see if Kenneth will find Don. There you go. Arenas drives. Arenas will score.
Talk about being a microwave. Wala nang warm-up. Well, first 2 shots, pasok kagad. Isang jumper, isang drive to the basket. Kinaliwa pa yung isa.
I'm interested to see if he can actually catch up to the leading scorers of Nueva Ecija. Itong si Don Arenas. So far, the leading man is Byron with 15. So kailangan 10 puntos pa itong si Don Arenas. Benji Jimenez fires. Too strong. Rebound Don. A 32-point advantage for Nueva Ecija. This is some good momentum that will bring over to their next game.
Arenas is open.
Here he is.
Kitang-kita oh.
Another 3, 8 points for Don.
The microwave. Gusto rin ni Coach Don Dulay. See? Parang
papalakpak siya.
Oo ginagawa niya yan dati.
Oo nga, tama. And Don Dulay would fire from way out.
Right.
I remember that.
Left-handed point guard. And I would be the one passing him the ball.
Yes.
Even though he's the point guard.
Kasi
ma-shooter siya sa akin. Ito, ang ganda ng jumper.
He's perfect. 3 out of 3 so far. So he's 7 points away from tying Byron Villarias.
I tell you, if he reaches that point, he's gonna be our BPG.
Okay. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
Minsan lang para kay Don Arenas. At sana alam na rin po yan ng ating production team.
Tignan natin.
111 to 78. Arenas has 8 points.
Ganda.
Now it's Dagang on scoring. Gab is now in double figures. Same goes for Chris Biton. This is just relentless defense from the Nueva Ecijanos. It is now 115-78. This is 30 points more compared to the usual average of Nueva Ecija, the third best scoring team in the MPBL. Babalik po ang Maharlika Pilipinas Basketball League, ang liga ng bawat Pilipino. This is Mix Gomez alongside Coach Christian Luanzon and Megan Cabrera. We have our Commissioner Kenneth Duremdes present at the sideline with Head of Security Rudy Distrito and Head of Basketball Operations Emer Oreta. There you see the last 3 games of Nueva Ecija before they end the regular season campaign.
Nabanggit mo to kanina, no? A tough schedule ahead for Nueva Ecija. You know, even though, let's say, they have that number 3 locked in already. So, in a sense, medyo no bearing, you know,
Yes.
because you look at the schedule behind them, or the teams behind them, rather, is Manila, Pasay, and Abra. You know? So, they have a, you know, they're pretty much locked in at that 3rd spot.
But
So,
their last 3 opponents, sila may implication pa.
correct. May implication pa sa kanila. That's what I mean by that, no?
As these last 2 minutes are brought to you by GameX. GameX Sports, the official online basketball lending partner of the MPBL. Basta ending GameX.
But my assumption would be, again, you're heading into the playoffs. Okay. I'm going to assume he might rest maybe 1 or 2 players out, you know, to alternate them. But still, you want to set that game into a good flow, but both offensively and defensively, since papasok ka na ng playoffs.
And just so everybody knows, Pasay and Abra are still battling for home court advantage in the North Division, while Rizal is looking to stay in the playoff picture.
Yeah, you know, let's paint the picture para sa mga viewers natin, no, especially for, you know, the Nueva Ecija fans. At number 3 right now is Nueva Ecija 21-3. 21-3. Number 4 is Manila 17-8. So that means they have, you know, 3 more games. Each team plays 28 games, you know, 29 teams. You get to play each team once for the regular season. And Pasay at number 5 is 17-9. Abra is 15-9. Caloocan is 14-9. So even a team like Caloocan, for example, who's at number 7 right now, they could end up as the number 4 spot. So it's quite a logjam. No, that's a 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, to your point, may bearing yan sa mga makakalaban ni Nueva Ecija dahil nakita natin mga kalaban pa nila ang Abra at ang Pasay.
Yes. So it's like a first round preview for us as Chris Viton scores inside. By the way, this is the season high for Nueva Ecija in terms of points scored by their squad in a single game, 117. And they limit Sarangani to only 80 points. Let's see if Ryan Swal can still score. He will shoot, but that's way off. And so, this is the final tally. A 37-point victory for the Rice Vanguards here in Binyan, Laguna.
So, Nueva Ecija taking care of business from the get-go on both ends. You know, what I like about it is that, at least compared to the first game, which was an outstanding individual performance by Alday, who had 43, is that this was really a collective effort. They had a mindset of not only winning, but also winning the execution part of it on both ends, even with the highlights that we're showing you right now.
This is our best player of the game, brought to you by Daily Fantasy. Dito sa Daily Fantasy, hawak mo ang laro. The top scorer is Byron Villarias for the Rice Vanguards with 15. And 5 other players scored in double figures for them. Dagangon, Macaloni, Wilson, Ayaay, in Biton. Beyond that, Arenas had 8, Collado had 9, Robles had 6, and Robbie Celis had 8. This final score is brought to you by GameX. GameX Sports, the official online basketball lending partner of the MPBL. Plus the ending, GameX. Megan Cabrera is now with our Season 4 Finals MVP.
Maraming salamat, Migs. Our best player of the game, Byron Villarias. Byron, 6 kayo na double digits ngayong larong to. At may 3 pang sumunod na talagang munti ka na mag-breakthrough sa double digits. And you scored about 30 more than your usual average scoring. Ano masasabi mo sa overall performance ng team ninyo?
Unang-una, thank you kay God sa binigay niyang panalo sa amin. Siguro, yung game na to, focus na kami talaga sa defense, sabi ni coach sa amin. Yung offense namin nandiyan lang, kailangan kami magtrabaho sa depensa talaga.
Next 3 games nyo, tough assignments yan but all leading up to the playoffs. Ano ang inaasahan mo? Ano ang gusto nyo pa mangyari? At ano pa yung talagang wino-work on nyo?
Yun na nga, yung depensa namin, marami pa kaming lapses. Kailangan pa naming pag-aralan pa yung mga mali namin sa game namin ngayon now, yung depensa talaga namin. And then every game kailangan i-treat namin as a playoff game.
Byron, kung meron ka mga gustong batiin at pasalamatan, ito na yung pagkakataon mo.
Una-una, thank you sa mga bosses namin, kay Boss Bong, Ma'am Ryan, kay Boss Ivan, kay Ma'am Vian, tsaka sa Power Hopes, sa jersey namin, sa credit din sa mga coaches, sa teammate ko, and sa family ko, sa wife ko, sa mother, father ko, sa province, sa kapatid ko. At sa lahat ng sumusuporta sa Nueva Ecija, thank you din. And sa family ko sa Negros, at sa Cavite, sa Taguig, at sa lahat ng di ko nabati. Thank you.
Congratulations, Byron, to you and your team. Once again, our best player of the game is brought to you by Daily Fantasy. Dahil sa Daily Fantasy, hawak mo ang laro. Migs and Coach Christian.
It's very interesting for Byron Villarias if he can back, or if he can get back to his true form back in Season 4, because they're going to need him down the stretch versus 3 playoff teams in the North Division to wrap up the regular season. Up next, it's Binyan Takjel defending their home court against the Iloilo United Royals. So stay tuned. For Megan Cabrera and Coach Christian Lumanzon, my name is Mix Gomez. At ibabalik ko po ang Maharlika Pilipinas Basketball League, ng Liga ng Bawat Pilipino.